Hello, my name's Will, and a year ago I released my biggest YouTube project to date, and that was my documentary on Yungblud. And 3 days later, this happened.
You've seen it! Fuck!
One of the craziest moments of my life. And to celebrate it being a year, I am going to watch it for the first time in probably about 8 months. I've watched it twice fully since it came out. Yeah, that's bare. And yeah, I've got a MacBook now. I'm gassed about it. You might think, why am I just sat in bed watching it? Do you mind? I made it in bed, so why not cover yourself up? So why not just react to it where I made it? I made it in my bed for the most part. I'm actually really excited to watch it because this was 2 months of my life of solid work. It paid off, thank fuck. I also just want to say as well, I have put posts out about this, but thank you so much to everyone who has seen it, because it's now on over 21,000 views, which is crazy. I expected this to flop. I was terrified the day I put it out. But when I'm reacting to this, I am going to try my best to just watch it. I'm not going to be pausing all the time. Obviously, like when there's major points and stuff that I can tell you more about, I will pause it. But yeah, for the most part, I am just going to watch it. Here we go. We've got an advert that I've got no fucking money from. Okay, so here we go. Yungblud, Love to Hate, the documentary by me. Let's watch it. I love that opening part to it, and the reason that I did it like that, with me putting the lipstick on and wearing like the skirt and that, is because I wanted to do something that captured Yungblud's image. So obviously that's the sort of stuff that he wears, but also capture the sort of shame through other people's opinions of it. Dead of night, and then doing something that makes you feel cool, makes you feel good about yourself, and then the washing it off is like the shame of, get this off me, if you know what I mean. And this is like at the start, because obviously I talk about my experience with suicide and low self-esteem and all that sort of stuff. When you're completely being yourself and just having fun, there's that shame that takes over. Hello, my name's Will. 3 years ago, I was a nervous wreck. 2 years ago, I attempted suicide. And today, I'm here to tell you my story and the story of the person that has made me who I am.
You're ready to go crazy, 'cause I'm Yungblud and I'm crazy. one of the coolest guys on planet Earth.
Now, this homegrown star had an amazing 2020.
And the phenomenal Yungblud.
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 Please welcome Yungblud!
Real name being Dominic Harrison, Yungblud popped onto the scene in 2017 with his first single, King Charles.
Stop it, it's Swatty!
And ever since then he has continued to take mainstream rock music by absolute storm, claiming 2 #1 albums, many charting singles, and a massive group of highly dedicated fans. But where you have love, you will always have hate, and in this documentary I want to show you exactly who Yungblud is. To understand anybody, you always have to go back to the start. Now, Dominic Richard Harrison was born on the 5th of August 1997 to his parents Justin and Samantha, and he has 2 sisters called Isabel and Jemima. Being born and raised in Doncaster, that has automatically put Yungblud at a disadvantage with people having prejudice towards his background, and he has gained a lot of criticism for people saying that he's faking a working class background. As good of a relationship he seems to have with his mum, and due to these past experiences and the nature of his lyrics, I remember this annoying me at the time with the way I said that being born in Doncaster put him at a disadvantage. I know my point. I think I got my point across, that because he was from somewhere that's deemed working class, the disadvantage is people assuming that he is working class, and then when they find out he went to private school. That was my point, but it just makes it sound like, yeah, Doncaster's shit. This, I believe, is what makes fans so dedicated and relate so well to his music. If you're going through the worst time possible and then you just accidentally find something that embraces you and you put all your trust in, it's the most beautiful fucking thing in the world.
People are just coming to it and finding it naturally because they stumble upon it serendipitously. You can't fucking stop it because you can't stop love ever. And it's really fucking cool that we get to do this every day, and I'm really thankful.
A massive influence for Yungblud was his granddad, who sadly passed away last year. Because of that, he has always been interested in music, and in his teenage years was in bands and has always been active with doing music.
Dominic from Yorkshire, I think probably one of the youngest artists tonight. How old are you?
17 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I'm going, I don't really know where I am right now.
Night after night goes by.
After that, he went on and did a bit of acting in Disney shows and in Emmerdale, and that is something that over his career has really come back to haunt him.
The truth about Yungblud. This isn't emo or punk rock.
This is the behaviour of a spoiled little brat whose dad paid his way into the music industry by selling stolen guitars from Italy.
Will I run away? Ariana, what are you doing here?
After this, his music career took off when he... This is one of the things that I think I could have done better. And it was quite unfortunate with the timing, because when I saw him in Camden, the day after, the Enemy did an interview with him where he went into his early music career, how he got signed, the story about his drummer in the lift. No, the story about, I don't know, producer or something riding the lift and telling everyone about it. I wish I could have included more about his sort of rise into music, but yeah, you get the point. Singles King Charles and I Love You Will You Marry Me. Now, as much as these singles didn't do amazingly well for him, they did gather some sort of audience that was a stepping stone to the big time. The following year, he drops his debut album, 21st Century Liability. And this is where the numbers for Yungblud really started to come in. Success also passed over onto his next EP where he dropped the biggest hit he's ever had. Just want to say the Hope for Underrated Youth EP is the best project he's ever done. I love Weird. Weird has got to be my favourite album of all time. But that EP is 6 songs that are elite. Despite being snubbed by the charts because of its graphic content, this song is one of the biggest TikTok bops of all time. This song did incredibly well for Yungblud, and being, whether he's middle class or went to private school or not, being a young lad from the north of England, living with your family, in 2 years, for you to go from dropping your first song to having a song that everyone is listening to is huge, and it's undeniable. And I don't think he knew what was going to come next. When you go from a kid with a dream to a global superstar, people are going to want to work with you. And Yungblud's worked with MGK and Travis Barker, Willow, Demi Lovato, Avril Lavigne, Ollie Sykes, the list goes on. But when you achieve success via your own talent, that's when the pressure cooker really starts. And that's exactly what happened next. I would love to do another documentary of this sort of style, actually going through his music career. I think I would need to find more out. Obviously, you know, I was there when Weird was relatively new, going into Fleabag coming out. I was there throughout the whole transition into self-titled, and then the album that's coming now. But yeah, I just need more information about like the growth and what went into it. Weird came out and it was so well received that it went straight to #1, and this was Yungblud's first #1 album. And it was also the start of Yungblud going into the mainstream. Now, someone who puts across as a punk aesthetic going mainstream is never going to be popular with rock fans. And this is where a lot of the criticism started. Despite criticism of his music and his upbringing, Weird was a massive success, and so was his subsequent tour that completely sold out. And overall it went well until one antic, and this is the risk of going mainstream. Things that are traditional in rock, if you are getting mainstream and safe with your music... Could you say mainstream anymore, mate? This sort of shit gets you into trouble.
But as you get bigger, I got absolutely took down on TikTok for spitting water and beer on an audience when... Because there's more eyes on me, everyone's like, that's so gross. Yeah. I've been doing that all my life because I saw Iggy Pop do it, I saw The Clash do it, I saw the Sex Pistols, I saw Bowie do it, and that's what happened.
I would like to raise a toast to all the fucking idiots on the internet.
And if so many people are talking about you, eventually you're going to respond.
It's all getting fucking boring.
And I think he did it in the best way that was possible, because he's not sorry. No one's ever going to believe that he was sorry. Despite criticism and constant abuse from haters, something that has never been denied is Yungblud's stage presence and the time that he puts aside for his fans. Of the modern generation, it's completely unrivaled, and we don't see big names like this give so much time and energy to every single fan that they meet. Facts. No other artist gives that amount of time to their fans. I will die on that hill. Say what you want about Yungblud, he treats every fan with respect. And every show that they put on. But Yungblud, it is always 100%, and that's what keeps such a dedicated and loving fan base. Just before this tour, Yungblud was involved in 2 songs, Patience with KSI and Fleabag. And this is where I come in. I was late to Yungblud. I started listening to him just when Patience came out, because I was interested in what KSI was doing. Obviously, he's completely my era of YouTuber, so I've always watched him and I was interested in the music. I saw Patience and was just obsessed. Could not get it out of my head. And then I was like, right, so who is Yungblud? I saw Parents and I was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember this. And then I saw Fleabag. And after that, I was obsessed. And luckily for me, Yungblud's self-titled album was announced by Yungblud getting a tattoo on his ribs. But with the self-titled and personal approach, would this see Yungblud ditch the safe route into rock music and go more of an independent, loud, brash, don't give a fuck attitude? No, it was mostly a pop album. As much fun as this album was, it failed to hit the same impact as Weird and still felt very safe for someone who is so out there, has got so much energy and looks like such a fucking rock star. Don't get me wrong, self-titled is an elite album. Like, it is genuinely phenomenal. But it's not a rock album. As much as I love some of the songs on that, Cruel Kids is one of my favourite Yungblud songs ever. And it had very strong singles. But yeah, just compared to Weird, it wasn't as exciting.
I can't believe we're #1 again. I just want to say a massive thank you to...
Well, despite mixed reviews and people having harsh opinions towards it, this album definitely proved that Yungblud was here to stay, securing his second #1 album.
Fucking album's out! Let's fucking go!
So overall, it's looking pretty clear for Yungblud, but there was one big test. A huge world tour was announced, which included arenas. And that's massive. For an artist that has been considered as underrated and up and coming, an arena tour, when the public still aren't sure, that could go horribly wrong. And will it? We'll just have to book tickets and find out. And this leads you on to the greatest day of my life. The day's finally here. We're going to see Yungblud. Currently about 8 o'clock in the morning. We're getting the 8:30 train to get to Resorts World in Brum, where hopefully we're going to be one of the first there, so we can get right to the front, maybe even meet him. We do fucking hope. If I could ever make one promise, it's nothing could have prepared me for how amazing that day was. My hype was through the roof before we went, and it surpassed it. The show was phenomenal. We didn't know what was going to happen. We got outside Resorts World at 10:30 in the morning. He came on stage at nearly 9 o'clock at night. We were knackered. I was outside Resorts World in a fucking dress. I had to piss in a urinal full of people. Couldn't go in a cubicle. I'm in a dress, right? This day was so far out of my comfort zone, but I felt fine. I felt amazing. That's the thing. The confidence that this man has put inside me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm supremely overconfident in stuff that I would do, but it's definitely an improvement to how my confidence was. And then we're standing there in the show, and there's interaction.
It's a rally life on Mars. It's a rally life on Mars. It's a rally life on Mars.
He's looking over at us. He's running every single place on that stage he put his feet. Like, he was all over the place. He came down, he high-fived us twice. And it was amazing. He pointed at us whilst doing his encore. And then we're just like, it can't get any better than this.
So he's come out onto the little stage. I just fucking hope he comes in.
And it did. And I was like, fuck, he's there. He's come out and seen everyone. And I was just thinking, maybe security will shut this down real quick. But they didn't.
I'm with you.
I met my idol that day.
So I've just met Yungblud. My life's now complete.
And it's one of my fondest memories I'll ever have. It was such a great day, that was. Like, his performance was amazing, obviously meeting him after. And that video, don't get me wrong, it was the holy grail when it first happened, but I'm just like, now my videos of like, look at my Camden video, look at my Bloodfest video, and then you go back and watch the Birmingham video, and that was almost by accident that came out, because yes, I was recording little bits, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I wasn't really making videos at that point, but this definitely reignited my love for it after a bit of a lull of like, why am I bothering doing YouTube? And don't get me wrong, I still have times like that, especially since the documentary came out as well, with the interaction with it and how much my channel grew and returning viewers and all that sort of thing. After years of being like, I'm not very good at this, I've got quite a bad stutter. Like, if you see a lot of cuts in my videos, it's because I have to stop and like think about how I'm gonna say something, otherwise I trip over my words a lot.
Birmingham, that was fucking incredible! Night 2, fucking love ya! Cheers, Manny next!
When someone mentions Yungblud to me, the first thing that pops into my head is love.
What this community represents is a sense of fucking freedom!
He built his fan base and his community and his dreams and everything off of love.
Making it impossible for trans kids to fucking live! And as a result of that, trans kids are fucking dying in our parks!
I went to see him about 2 years ago, and I walked in there nervous as ever, didn't know what I was walking into, but I just had this overwhelming feeling of love.
A government making legislation that people can't fucking protest, or can't strike, or can't speak out. Well, I won't be fucking silent.
And he brings attention to that, like those deep topics that many artists don't.
A sense of fight. This is a generational fucking movement.
He saved my life more times than I can count on my 2 hands, and I'll forever be grateful for him and his music and this incredible fan base.
This is not about us. It's about the fucking right thing to do. So you, Rishi Sunak, listen to the kids, or we'll fucking eat ya.
Genuinely one of, if not my favourite moments in this documentary. It gives me goosebumps. I remember editing it and I was like, fuck, that's powerful. And the girl Miley, because I just messaged a lot of fans on Instagram seeing if they wanted to be involved, and she sent me that voice note and she smashed it. It was amazing. It's my bit. This is obviously going to be the hardest bit for me to watch, because this is the most personal I've ever spoke on my channel, and there's obviously details that I keep to myself, because I'm not going to sell my soul to the internet, which you might think eyeliner and dresses I probably already have. Fuck yourself. This was one of the first places I ever came to when I started having not dark thoughts, but like down days, and started being low in my mood, and that was when I was about 13, 14. It was never anything like uncontrollable. It was just times where you'd need somewhere just peaceful to come and clear your head. And what's better than this? There's just no one around apart from the occasional person walking their dog. It's just fucking nice. I still love to come down here every so often because it's just one of the few places you can genuinely think. And even though a lot of the times coming down here were because of sadness, I got very fond feelings towards this place. So I'm sure a question a lot of you have thought is, why am I doing this? Why am I making a documentary about my idol and talking about my own struggle with mental health? Because it mainly kicked off in 2021. I remember hearing Patience and Fleabag and thinking he was cool. At this time, I was really sick of my job and it was really dragging me down. I left my job thinking that that'd make it way better, went to a different job that I hated way more. And very early on there was where my closest suicide attempt. I do just want to say the reason that I said closest there is because I'd struggled with those thoughts for probably a year and a half, and I'd had times where I attempted and then all of a sudden just backed out and made myself throw up. So you can see what my method was. And when I've spoke to people about it before, they're like, how many times had you attempted? I always say one, just because that was the only one where I was just like, fuck, I might actually die. But the other times it was like, as soon as I'd done it, I was like, no, fuck this, snapped out of it. And that's where I'm just like, even when I have some dark days now, and I'm pretty blessed, like now I've got Case, I've got this little man, I'm pretty blessed. And also I think, you know, it's a hard time when you're like 19, 20 and you're in that period of like, you're an adult, you feel like you should get your shit together. And that's a good thing, but it can be very stressful for you. And, you know, if you're like me and you take a while to grow up and you do some stupid shit, then it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. And that's why a lot of suicides that you see are young men. Fucking male pride, when will we grow out of it? Which resulted in me getting rushed to hospital, and luckily I threw up just before the ambulance got there. It almost feels surreal to talk about to the internet because it's not something I talk about a lot in my personal life. So talking about it for fuck knows how many people to hear, just like it's a weird feeling. And it was a scary time because I remember waking up at hospital and I was partly angry that I hadn't done it. I didn't want to tell people because if you say that you attempted suicide but you're not dead, people don't think it's real. Facts, absolute facts. I remember the nurses, overall the nurses were great and the doctors, but I remember there was a nurse, and shout out, I live in Kidderminster, it's near Brum, but shout out Redditch Hospital, man, they were fucking amazing. There was one nurse that, because I was there late very early in the morning, at 8 o'clock, I think there's a handover of the shift, and then the male nurse that came over to me a few times, because he read my notes and saw what I was in for, he said to me, he was like, are you okay with someone else, or do you want me to stay and be with you or whatever? And of course I was just like, bro, you've done your shift, like, go home. They were amazing. But yeah, there was a doctor that was very much like, oh, here we go, like, and fuck off. And it's still something that I worry about, because I think you question yourself, like, was that really what I wanted? At the time, 100%, because it had been leading up to it for days before, and then there was just one night where I was on my own, and it felt like that night was the night. I remember vividly the few days before that being at work, and at the time I worked in a pub, and I was in the kitchen, and I just remember getting absolutely twatted, and I smashed it because I was completely on autopilot. Like, I wasn't there in my own head, like, I was just constantly thinking, I know what's gonna happen when I go home. That's, if you've ever been in that situation, it's fucking low, because you're just like, why don't I just go home now? Like, and fuck me, man, watching this, like, yeah, it's me, and obviously, you know, I'm someone that don't just go around feeling sorry for yourself, but I can't help but watch this and feel sad, but also have a bit of pride of just like, you've grown up and you're actually worth something, and that's the reward. And that's why I fucking hate it when people are like, it always gets better. It doesn't always get better. You have to work for that. Like, and you might push people away along the way, but at the same time, you're your own priority. You'll always make friends. You'll probably always have a partner, and if you're with the right person, you'll always have that partner. I truly believe that. It's odd watching this back. And I did this in one take as well. This was the last thing that I filmed for me, because I was just like, this has got to be authentic, it's got to be real. And yeah, I'm super proud of this footage, because like I say, it was one take, didn't have to repeat anything. And it's so weird to me to think about, because I'm a completely different person. I've done a lot of stupid things since then, but I've come out on the other side. But the thing that I think is so beautiful about this story isn't the fact that I was there and now I'm here. It's the people. And the main reason I'm making this documentary is, from that time in my life, you see 3 people just appear more and more into my life, and that's my amazing girlfriend Casey, who I met at a very dark but also just like stupid time in my life. My best friend Luke, who, fuck me, he's got me out of several holes mentally. I don't say this enough. If I didn't have Luke, I genuinely think I wouldn't be here anymore. And that's not a toxic thing of like, if we stopped being friends now, I'd do something. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean, in that period of my life, he was such an incredible emotional support, and he still is now. But at that time, I'd had a friendship completely disappear. I really didn't have anything going on in my life, and I was just permanently very low, and he was that constant levity, and I love him to pieces. he's just made me feel like, I don't know, kind of like feeling of safety by just being there. Because loneliness, I will die on this hill, but loneliness is the biggest killer. And Yungblud. And like I just said, loneliness to me is the thing that really would push me over the edge. The fact that I just resonated so much with his music, loneliness almost didn't matter anymore, because whenever I was alone, whenever I wasn't with Case or Luke or someone else, whatever, it felt like someone was there and someone was comforting me. And his lyrics, they're not just song lyrics, they're fucking statements that are partly a reason that I'm still here. And there's some songs that I still have vivid memories of just feeling like the worst and at my lowest ever. And one of those songs especially is God Save Me But Don't Drown Me Out. Like, Jesus Christ, I remember being in my cellar, fucking bawling my eyes out, feeling like that when I'm gone, people never know what was going on. And I remember I had a note in front of me. Yeah, I remember that night vividly. It was when I was a really big fan of Machine Gun Kelly. And don't get me wrong, I still like some of his music now, but I do think the guy's a knobhead. Yeah, I was listening to his music and God Save Me Don't Drown Me Out came on, and it just made me cry. And you know, when people are like, lay it out, that's what it did. One of the biggest reasons that I am so fucking grateful that I'm still here, and that's why I'm making this documentary. I just want Dom to know how much he actually helps people. And leading on to the question of who is Yungblud, which is a question that gets asked a lot online and to him. Youngblood's someone who, you might love to hate him, but he's saved a lot of lives. And as much as to some people he might come across as this loud, bratty idiot, his songs aren't just, they're not just throwaway lines. Like there's so many fucking beautiful lines, like, I got called an alien for being myself, but I've not got the patience to be someone else. Do you feel like you're irrelevant? Do you feel like you're just scared as fuck? You pride yourself on what you failed to be, but therapy taught me my blood was orange. These are lines that, to some people who feel misunderstood, finally feel understood, and as if they've almost spoke to someone about it. Because sometimes you genuinely cannot describe what you are feeling, and that's all right. But it's all right if you've got something to resonate with and to console you. And to anyone out there who is suffering from depression or mental illness or even just low mood, if you are on your own, just find something that you're passionate about, because I promise it'll make you feel better. Do I think if I didn't like Yungblud that I would emotionally connect to his songs? No, of course I wouldn't. And I don't expect everyone else to, because not everyone else has got the same mindset. But this is why he helps us, and so intensely. I put him on a very similar level to my fucking girlfriend and my best friend. The two biggest influential people in my life. And I'm not going to come on here and try and say that I've had some sort of really difficult life. I haven't. I've got great parents. Like, my family's always been there. I've got good mates. I go to work, I earn my money. I've got a very average life. But 2 years ago, I just went through a very scary and dangerous to myself point in my life. And it's not about where you were, it's about where you are. And if you come out the other side, I'm not acting like, now I'm some sort of fucking millionaire who never feels down. Of course I'm not going to say that, because that'd be complete bullshit. I don't have supremely dark thoughts on a daily basis and feel like whenever I go to someone who I love's house or see them or whatever, that I have to lie and say that I'm fine, because I generally can go, I'm fine, or I'll just say, yeah, I've had a bit of a shit day. Anyone that's watching this, even if you fucking hate Yungblud, or you hate me, or whatever, if you are feeling shit, it does always get better if you go about it the right way. But I'll give you 3 tips for getting better. Play it smart with who's around you. So if you think you can't trust one of your friends, you can't. Don't tell them anything. Find something you're passionate about. You will dedicate so much time to it, and whatever time you dedicate to it, it will distract you. 3, give people a chance. If people show themselves up to be cunts, then that's fine. You can just fuck them off. You don't have anything to do with them. But also you might meet amazing people, like I did with Casey, like I did with Luke, and I have met Dom, so I am going to class him as that. Those are my 3 tips. I really hope it's helped, and almost feels like a weight's lifted to actually say that, as much as I was shitting myself and am shitting myself to put this out. I really hope it has helped you. I've actually got shaky hands from doing this. So thank you for listening, and I hope it's helped. I was sort of dreading watching that because obviously, you know, it's very deep. That's the thing that I was very shocked about, because see, this is a Yungblud documentary, and at this point, I'm not saying that I am known particularly in the Yungblud fan base, but at the time that this came out, it was very much like, who is this? I'd made a few song reactions and a video going to see him live, but apart from that, really not much else. People resonated with my part and cared about what I had to say, and that, I can't thank you enough for that.
My first experience with Yungblud, my older brother showed me the upcoming album to Weird, which was my first introduction. First song I heard, God Save Me, Don't Drown Me Out. And at first I wasn't like, the music I was a bit like, wasn't sure. The message in the music video, I was like, no one at his age is really like providing any message to any of the youth. So I thought, he's a potential. And then when the Weird album came out, generally fell in love with him.
My first experience with Yungblud was back in 2019 when I first heard Polygraph Eyes. When I first heard it, I thought that his music was very like relatable, a lot more now than it was back then. Like a lot more of his songs that he's released now I relate to a bit more now. Back in
Casey's got black hair now, but can we just appreciate how beautiful Casey looks here with her natural blonde hair? I love the black, but I don't know, the blonde was just such a good look.
2019 was when I first got into him and heard him, and I just thought, yeah, this guy's sick.
I first saw him in 2021 in...
Jealous of that, you cunt. And the fact that now Luke, like, don't get me wrong, Luke can still listen to a bit of Yungblud, but he's a lot more at the minute into his hip-hop stuff. Yeah, he doesn't even particularly listen to him at this point. He saw him in the leather skirt and the Cramps crop top. Do you know how much that cuts me on a daily basis?
Can't remember the arena, but it was a really small venue in Birmingham. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest, because when I first saw him, it was when Cotton Candy came out. His energy is crazy, and surprising for like literally, this album just came out, all the fans knew the lyrics. He was blown away, because I think this was one of his first shows when it premiered. The amount of outfit change he had was so sick. It was one of my first concerts, so it was a good introduction.
Wow, I've only been to one of his shows, but when I saw him, I thought it was probably one of the best shows I've been to. He was obviously, as we all know, very energetic and doesn't stand still for more than 2 seconds. But I thought it was so good, and me and Will's mum were in seating, which I think that's probably something I wouldn't do again, just because after watching that show, it was no one around me was up and dancing. I wanted to get up, but because nobody else was up, I was just a bit like, it's going to be too awkward if I stand up. So I think I'd want to go stand in just to experience the full like vibe. Obviously Will was standing like when I was, because I could see him from where I was sitting, and I was just like, that just looks like so much fun.
The impact he has on people is crazy. I wouldn't say like I'm not with like the crazy like fashion, but my friend Will, the stuff that he's impacted on him to the point of how he speaks, how he presents himself, what he wears, and overall his actual whole mental state's changed in a positive way. And I think he's done that for a lot of people in the, not even like a certain genre, but like the alternative community.
He obviously has a very big impact whenever you watch, you know, that Louis Theroux documentary. You know, you have all these fans that talk about how much he's helped them like come out to their families and that kind of thing. So I think he's definitely built confidence up in a lot of people, and I've witnessed that from like Will. Like, you know, he went to a show wearing a dress and makeup. Like, I don't think he'd ever thought he'd ever do that. And obviously, you know, like, he's very interactive with them, constantly in the DMs, constantly replying to comments, you know, on his posts and stuff like that. So he's definitely like, he definitely has a big impact on people's lives. And I think once those fans have had that interaction, like, it sticks with them for life, and they probably think about it quite a lot. And I know firsthand that Will thinks about his interaction quite a lot.
The future I see for Yungblud is like, I generally see him eventually being known as generally one of the greats. I think he's definitely going to mix into other genres. I won't think he's going to constantly be in the, you know, the emo / alternative thing. I think he's going to explore a lot of things, and he has, as he's done songs with so many people in different genres. But the future for Yungblud, I can imagine a lot more albums, and I think he's going to experiment quite a lot.
I see, obviously, you know, his most recent songs that he's released are very different to his old style of music. But I think I want to see more of his older stuff. Like, my favourite album is his first album. I'd love to see more music in that kind of style. And I also want to see like more collaborations. I know obviously he did one recently. I think we want a bit, well, I want a bit more anyway. Like, I'd love to see him collab with Noah Khan, because that's my favourite artist at the minute. I think them two could collab together. But yeah, I just think
Yungblud by Noah Khan featuring Yungblud. Yeah, that.
more of his old music. Like, don't get me wrong, I love his new music. Like, I'm not saying that I hate it and it's shit, but I just think a lot of his older music I'd like to see brought back.
One thing I'd say, I'd generally say thank you. Not even just for me, just for certain people around me, especially Will, because I don't think without Yungblud, Will would be here, to be honest.
This, I didn't tell Luke filmed his bit first, and then Casey second, but obviously they both say the same thing, and that, I just think that was one of the most beautiful coincidences in this, is the fact they both said they'd say the same thing to him, and that obviously meant a lot to me. You can hear my voice is going a little bit.
I generally think it has saved him. Sounds cliche and fucking cringy, but you know what, it really has.
I would just thank him for being him, because if he didn't do what he did, like the music he makes, the way he is, the most important person in my life might not be here. So I just thank him for making the music that he does, and just like for being him, like I say, because he's just helped Will so much, and like I can just see how much he means to him, and you know, like obviously he's obsessed. But yeah, I just thank him.
I love you with all of my heart.
Just the overall positivity, because you know what, in this scene there's not been a lot. There's been a lot of like hate, which granted everyone's going to get that, but I think he's actually put a positive thing into it.
I'll be outside in 30 minutes. I'll see you later. Look after each other. Okay, yeah? Promise? Keep this well. Alright, so safe here to be your fucking self, no matter what. Now there's only one fucking rule at a Yungblud show. Is that every fucker in this crowd is gonna love each other tonight, alright? Because we are a fucking family in this community! This next song goes out to anybody who has ever felt like they're a fucking alien! This next song goes out to a girl called Brianna! There is fucking life on Mars!
I have the pleasure of being Will's mum, and although I am clearly a middle-aged woman, I do love Dom and I love Yungblud. My 3 words that I would associate with him is, number one, relatable.
Energetic.
Inspiring.
He's very humble.
So down to earth.
Charismatic.
He is hilarious.
Super, super talented.
The songs honestly just help me.
Overall, great guy.
Also, a bit mental. If you've been to a Yungblud show, I don't know if I'm the only one. My favourite thing at the show is just when he says jump. Like, if you've watched my videos where I go to see him, especially in Bloodfest, you can see at the times he says it, I'm like, jump, jump. I just think it's such good hype. Like, there is nothing more hype than a Yungblud show. 6 years of Yungblud being an artist has proved many things, but most importantly it has proved that hate doesn't matter. And like I said, where you have love, you will always have hate, but the most beautiful part of it is, where you have hate, you'll always have love. Anyone is within their right to question his authenticity and even dislike his music, but to some people, this is the difference between life and death. And this is why Yungblud's not just an artist, it's a feeling. And it's a feeling that millions of people across the world take part in every day. And this is my favourite part of the documentary. It's where all you lot have sent your stuff in, your memories, the great times you associate with the name Yungblud, and here they all are.
Sweet heroin, I got you in my throat like your medicine. Saying to myself.
Shout out Adam as well. He's in one of my favourite live performances of Yungblud, which I was there for, is Mars at Bloodfest that he recently uploaded. I just think that video completely captures what a Yungblud show is, the love, the way we idolise him, his vocals are amazing, and after he's like, do you feel like you're irrelevant? That Is There Any Life on Mars, where the audience joins it, it's fucking magic. But yeah, shout out Adam, lovely guy. And Mitchell as well, he's been through some shit and I met him at Bloodfest again, lovely guy.
We are a culture of people that come together every day. We come together to belong. And if you feel like you're out there and you don't belong anywhere, welcome home.
There we go. And after that, there's the credits and that's it. I loved it. I genuinely was expecting there to be so many. Don't get me wrong, there was a few bits that I highlighted that I think I could have done better. I think the edit in some bits I could have done a bit more smooth and added a few little things. But overall, I'm still very, very proud of that. And you guys absolutely smashed it with how you embraced it. And the feedback I got from it was fucking amazing. I'd love to do something similar to this at Bloodfest. This is an idea that I'm debating because I am a little bit of a recluse socially. Going right, it was amazing at Camden and Bloodfest when you guys came up to me and asked me for pictures, and I'm more than happy to do that and chat to you. But the idea that I've got is to people that I meet at Bloodfest, if there are any that watch my videos that want to come up to me, if you want to have a moment on camera where you say your piece of how Yungblud's helped you and what it means to you, I'd love to film that and have it all in one separate video just dedicated to you guys from Bloodfest. But yeah, let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd like to see. It might happen, it might not, it just depends if anyone's interested. But yeah, still super proud of that. Bear looks absolutely riveted by it. Yeah, thank you all so much for the love that you gave this. It's definitely it's got to be my favourite video I've ever done. I love my Camden video, I love my Reading video. That it's got to be number one. It was 2.5 months of constant work with no guarantees. I genuinely thought it was going to flop and people would be like, why is this called a Yungblud documentary when a lot of it's about you? Like, oh, pity party, when that of course wasn't my intention, but obviously you never know how people are going to perceive it. But the love from it has been absolutely overwhelming, even to this day. So yeah, that's my reaction to my Yungblud Love to Hate documentary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of the video, and also go and check it out. Watch it again if you've already watched it. In a bit.